Welcome back to the world today. International help continues to pour in for countries affected by the Ebola virus disease. The British government has just opened a facility to treat patients in Sierra Leone. And this center is the first of 6 being constructed by Britain as part of efforts to stop the spread of the disease. The facility at Kerry Town, south of the capital Freetown, includes a new blood testing laboratory. 600 more beds are planned at the UK centres around the country in the coming months. A centre also provides dedicated beds for infected health workers and separate sites for confirmed and suspected cases. Head of the UK aid agency dealing with the Ebola virus disease and the situation in West Africa, Donald Brown, says he believes the new centres will have a huge impact on the country. We're up north in Africa now, where one person has been killed in a train crash in the Algerian capital, Algiers, after a passenger train derailed when changing tracks. Rescue workers are at the scene attending to victims of the crash. Railway services to and from Athena were interrupted following the accident, which took place at 8:10 a.m. Train journeys in central Algiers were also affected. The country's Prime Minister Abdul Malik Selal visited the scene of the accident much earlier to make inquiries about the circumstances of the derailment. The National Director of the Algerian National Company for Rail Transport, Yassine Benjabala, said an investigation is underway to determine how the electric passenger train derailed. The accident is a first of its kind, as no train has ever crashed traveling from Algiers to its suburbs. And the body of Zambian President Michael Sata is back in his home country after being flown in from London, where he passed away last week. The country's interim president is a white man born in Zambia when the country was still a British colony. The VOA's Mariama Diallo reports on reactions to the interim government as the country prepares to bury its 5th president and awaits elections in 90 days.
Thousands of Zambians formed lines to pay tribute and mourn the death of their 5th president, Michael Sata, who will be buried on November 11th. Mr. Sata's work and passion for the country was demonstrated while he was in office, says Palan Mulonda, Zambia's ambassador to the United States.
In the last 3 years, Zambia has seen unprecedented development. And what is interesting is that President Sata was a leader who associated himself with the underprivileged.
This is not the first time that Zambia has lost a sitting president. In 2008, President Levi Mwanawasa died in office at the age of 59. What's new is that the late president's interim successor is a white Zambian. Former Vice President Guy Scott is the son of Scottish parents who immigrated to Zambia. In a public address, Scott hasn't brought attention to his skin color.
As acting president for 90 days or less, hopefully if we can move ahead with the elections, my legacy will be a peaceful and fair election and a smooth transition.
Zambians seem to have mixed opinions about having Africa's first white head of state in 20 years.
The Guy Scott is qualified to do that job because they wouldn't have chosen him to be vice president if he was not qualified to do that.
It's not right. 50 years after independence, I think we're supposed to have our own indigenous person acting in that position.
Kenneth Mwanda, a professor of law at American University and a Zambian native, thinks Mr. Scott's position is appropriate.
Guy Scott is a great guy to start with. He was born in Zambia, in Livingstone, the city where I was born. Believe me, Guy Scott has been in Zambia more than I have been in Zambia. Although my parents are indigenous Zambians, but I cannot claim legitimacy to being more Zambian than Guy Scott.
Plus, Mwanda says Mr. Scott is a key person in Michael Sata's political party.
They built the Patriotic Front from the scratch with Michael Sata. So This is somebody who's been there on the ground, so there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever regarding his loyalty to the country. He's a Zambian 100%.
According to the provisions of the Republican Constitution,
The 70-year-old Scott, a Cambridge-educated economist, is not eligible to run for president in the upcoming elections because his parents were not born in Zambia. Mariama Diallo, VOA News.
And that's where we leave it on The World Today. Thank you for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani. Stay tuned in just a few minutes. It's Sports News with Barong Tony Uranta.